Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News. A massively important day in the VCT last night with NRG season officially coming to a close. It was not many weeks ago that FNS and SOM were confirmed to be returning into the lineup after a disastrous first part of the season, but honestly, it arguably got worse since then. The manner of their defeat last night to Cloud9 will go down in the memory of the VCT, and they're getting roasted from absolutely every single angle. Marved seems to be a rather happy man at this outcome. Very much enjoying your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you are new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. Demon1 as well, getting ready to go for this one today. I'm sure that he was watching this series rather intently after the way that he was treated earlier on in the year. Couple of quick things here. Thought this is interesting from Aspas, really, just talking about the duelist role in general on certain players that have the potential to play it, but abandon that decision for whatever reason. And, you know, like Aspas, when he talks, it's probably worth listening, because this guy knows how to be rather good at Valorant. So I just thought that was interesting, especially with what's happening over at the Loud side right now, with the Sadak piece and the Toys piece and whatever they're up to. Not like it matters anymore. Obviously, he says, look, so here's a tip. If you have a dream, don't listen to others. Train the role you like, because talents are wasted because of that. So, look, maybe that tip's a little bit too late for Louds to employ now because their season is over. But I thought it was worth mentioning. This quickly from the Asian side. Okay, Valo to Asia in the Pacific region, the Asia Pacific. Now, Laz, of course, player for Zeta, actually had a really good series yesterday, but unfortunately for Zeta, it just wasn't quite good enough. Their coach basically says, like, Laz is one of the best players that I've worked with. They do go down yesterday to Paper X. Paper X, of course, moved to 9-1 in the overall standings, and these have been the results of the last couple of days. Loads of 2-1s, but that basically rounds things off. Now, there is one series still going on. We'll have a look at that in a second, but this was quite an important one. Paper X versus Zeta, just to see where these teams were. Not like it mattered that much in the grand scheme of things really here, but, you know, Paper X getting the win. It was a 2-1 though. Zeta won a cent on their pick, and then the Lotus was a 13-8, and then a 13-4 in the end on the Sunset. So, you know, fair play. Lotus was actually a really good map here from Laz. He tried his best. It wasn't good enough. They got slapped around the first half. It is what it is. The other game going down on the other side that I'm sure that Ye will maybe be keeping something of an eye on is T1 versus Bleed right here. It was 13-11 to T1 map 1, but now it's 11-8 back to Bleed on map 2. So potentially still all to play for there. If you look at the standings though, T1 are out, Bleed are out as well. So it's not like it massively matters, but it's just something to think about really for these teams going at this point into next season. But let's talk about what happened in North America last night, because this is no doubt the story of the day and the story really of, in many ways, the last couple of weeks. So as Marv says, I will be there for the NRG game. This was a big one for NRG. They could not afford to lose this one. This was going to be it. If they lost, they're done. No playoffs, no LCQ, of course, because there's no LCQ this year, and then no World Championship qualification. We talked about it. When NRG made this move, SOM in, FNS in, the question was the move planned by Chet and the coaching staff to effectively be like, let's just consolidate, make a more solid team and not necessarily a spectacular team? My feeling was this version with FNS and SOM would be more consistent, would maybe be a bit better domestically than their previous version with Demon1 and, of course, Marved as well. Sure, that team had more talent. That team had the potential to win international events, given the strength and depth of the talent on their team, but it didn't work, obviously, so they blew up the roster. But I never felt that this FNS and SOM team, even if they made it deep in a tournament, would have been able to do any damage, just because, you know, I think the era of some of those players is just over now, and we'll discuss that more in a second. So Marv just looking at the team thinking, you know, I really hope they maybe don't win, kind of prove me right that they shouldn't have got rid of me in the first place, and we'll get onto that in a second, right? Zeltis also was having a great time watching this, because we know that him and FNS had that bit of a beef. FNS said Zeltis is the most overrated, and then they've had a bit of a back and forth ever since then. So this game went all the way down to the wire, right? NRG absolutely dominate map 1 of the series here. They then get pegged back on the game 2, but then it's a Sunset, right? And they're taking advantage of their opportunities. This was a phenomenal clutch here from Ethan. 7 HP and a dream. 1 versus 3. Just so good here from Ethan. Like, I think Ethan's a phenomenal player, to be honest. And yeah, just surprised really in some ways that NRG haven't had the results this year that I thought they may have done. But great clutch here from Ethan. Gets the 1 versus 3. And there was more happening as well. This was the game 2, by the way, from SOM on the Icebox. I mean, at this point, could you see the series going another way? I mean, you know, here's SOM just outside of the Viper's Pit being detained. 1 versus 3 scenario. Oxy's defusing. 1, 2, 3. I mean, I don't really understand how they didn't kill him there, but it is what it is. 1 versus 3. NRG take the rounds. And at this point, you're thinking, wow, with map 3 on the horizon after Cloud9 did eventually win that one anyway, And with a 12-5 lead, there's absolutely no chance that they can possibly throw this one away.
It's over.
They just have to play time. They don't even have to swing, really.
Austin's my guy, but he's not winning this, bro. There's no time. Time's out.
They just have to play that smart.
That's right. Bro.
So Cloud9 makes playoffs? So what teams are in playoffs now for sure?
Bro. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 rounds.
From Moxie. And Rooney is low here.
Come on, Ethan.
Crashies hit these shots. They're right in the spike.
And Crashies hit the trip. They know he's coming B main. He's all alone once again in another clutch attempt. Trip now broken. Camera is up. The first wall bang onto Rooney. Tap onto the spike. Last 2 players of Cloud9 back towards the market. Goes for that second tap. As the satchel comes up. Split coming through. Not enough time. Comes out for the kill. Cloud9. Welcome to the playoffs.
Cloud9 stun NRG. Coming out on top, coming back from behind. After Ascent, it looked dark. But they found the win on Sunset.
12-7, bro.
Box. Never be worried about Cloud9 losing the first map, it seems.
So of all the ways to lose in this type of situation, to go up 12-5 and then to lose 9 rounds on the bounce to Cloud9 is rough. And you see it in Crashy's face, in his eyes. I think Victor as well was standing up in kind of disbelief. And I think this is maybe a realization that's set in here for Crashy's and for Victor, is that maybe, you know, their time is over, right? We talked about it over the last few days. That DRX team, that, you know, FPX team, that Optic team that were winning and were top 4 at the World Championship a couple of years ago pretty much. Those players maybe aren't the same players anymore. The meta has changed to a certain extent. And, but still, I mean, they should have won this series, right? 12-5 advantage, like basically 7 opportunities to close it out before overtime. They couldn't take a single one. They go to overtime and they still cannot capitalize. Like, just one of the most ugly 2-1 losses you're ever going to see. Now, look, were they going to do much damage anyway? Because if you're losing in this manner, it's ugly regardless. And Oxy decided to shoot back today. And when that happens, it's tough to beat him, right? And it's not like the team was that underwhelming until it really mattered, right? Because Ascent was 13-3, absolute masterclass. Cloud9 go down. Icebox, they bounce back 13-10. Again, despite a good attacking side from NRG, they just, you know, lost a lot of rounds in a row. And that's exactly what happened here on the Sunset, right? You know, to lead the half 7-5, then win the first 5 rounds of the defense, look absolutely nailed on to be getting through and winning the series, then to allow Cloud9 to bring it back is just absolutely awful. So they go down to the series, and we saw some of the reaction there, right? Marved, oh, he's slamming the desk. He's so annoyed. I can't believe my boys on NRG lost. I'm so sad for them, right? Like, clearly Marved is sitting there thinking, damn, you know, no last chance qualifier for you boys. Unlucky, I guess. Dropping me was a bit of a mistake. So there was clearly some drama, clearly some friction internally in that team. No one likes getting dropped, and when you do get dropped, of course, as a player, you'd certainly want the team that drops you to probably go on and not have a great time in the next couple of matches, because then it maybe proves that they made that wrong decision, of course increases your chances for next year. But with this defeat, that ends the day for NRG. Their chances of playoffs are now done. Their year is over. So, like, bringing FNS back in mid-season anyway was a tall order for him, having not played on this level for some time. And sure, did he do a job? Absolutely. Was it a good enough job in the grand scheme of things? No. And, you know, as Sentinel say, FNS ending NRG season sure is poetic. Of course, Zeltis and, you know, FNS have had a bit of a back and forth lately. But as Chet says, GG's, that's it for our season. Sad loss, right? Because it wasn't a good way for them to conclude the year. And Chet's future, what is it going to be, right? Because this NRG team had formed what looked like at the start of the team or start of the year a bit of a super team, right? They had Demon1 and Marved alongside Ethan, Victor and Crashies. Okay, if you can figure out the in-game leading, it's a great squad on paper. The reality is maybe a couple of those players past their prime, fitting into the right system. It seems to have been a bit of a challenge. They made the changes, but the issue is, what do you do now? Do you say, oh, okay, FNS and Som are gone? Do you bring back some of those other guys that you got rid of? Do they want to come back into the team? Because NRG have like everything going for them. They've got the facilities, they've got the chef, right? They've got like theoretically the coaching staff, and there's rumors that Chet is going to just dip out basically and go straight back to Counter-Strike and not even like coach the Valorant team anymore. So a bit of a shambles what's happened with NRG lately, and to go from where they were to not even getting close to qualifying for champions is just downright embarrassing, right? As Boostio says, Jesus, that was terrible by NRG, that was an absolute choke. So this is now how it looks. It honestly thought for some time it was going to be loads of different permutations for who was going to make it to the playoffs, but actually it becomes quite simple. These 5 teams are now qualified. So Lev, Sen, G2, Cloud9 Crew, they are sorted. They are going to be there in the playoffs for, to try and make it to champs. If Sentinels beat G2, by the way, then that's enough to secure Sentinels World Championship qualification by having the most points for the regular season. But NRG's loss means that Crew, despite falling off lately big time, they are going to make it, right? Because there isn't enough for, for this to be overturned now. They've got 5 wins, and only one of 100T and EG can get to 5 wins. So this is the series, 100T versus EG. Winner goes to playoffs, loser has basically the end of their entire season. So yeah, whoever wins this game today will qualify for the playoffs. Pretty funny that Will might have put together this, because often he'll put together like a permutation flowchart and say, okay, if this happens, then this is going to happen. And it basically is this: 100T win, 100T quals. EG wins, EG quals. Now, it's still possible that 100T could make it through champions points if certain things happen, but yeah, we'll see about that. So of course, there's still a few more games to come up in the Americas over the coming days. That Gen.G game on the 15th of July, and actually it's the 14th technically, it's just 15th my time in the morning, and then loud 100T stuff like this. So ends of course on this weekend's, but on the Sunday. But this is really the only game that matters from now on, is EG versus 100T, and the Gen.G game to some degree. But this is going to be the big one this evening to see who makes it to the playoffs and whose season is over. But very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.